On this episode of Cape Media News, Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito joins local leaders in Hyannis to support Governor Charlie Baker's Housing Choice Bill. Energy and the environment discussed in a legislative forum in Orleans. Residents gathered to discuss the future of Bass River, and hundreds of runners raced to the Pint to raise money for the Barnstable Clean Water Coalition. These stories and more. This is Cape Media News. This is Cape Media News, your local, authentic community newscast. I'm Sarah Colvin. Thank you so much for joining us today. We begin in Hyannis, the hub of Cape Cod, on the site of a new live-work development under construction at 255 Main Street. Local leaders joined together to discuss ways to ease the region's housing crisis.
Outdated zoning laws can often be a roadblock when it comes to creating much-needed housing on Cape Cod.
The housing crisis is getting worse. In 5 short years, we have lost 3,000 year-round homes and gained 5,000 seasonal homes.
We're the third highest home values of any state in the country and the highest 2-bedroom rent. And it puts a real strain on our families. About half of our families now are what's called cost burdened. They're spending more than 30% of their income on housing.
That's why Governor Charlie Baker has filed an act to promote Housing Choices, an initiative that could help strengthen communities across the Bay State.
The Housing Choice Bill eliminates unnecessary barriers to creating more year-round housing.
But we need initiatives that are going to support housing for a variety of lifestyle stages and a variety of lifestyles. We need housing solutions for seasonal workers, and we need zoning reform that's going to encourage smart growth and housing diversity while it maintains the village characters in our communities that we love so much.
Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito joined local leaders in Hyannis to highlight the need for zoning reform.
Things have changed on the Cape. This is a year-round community with industries like healthcare, beyond just the tourism seasonal industries that need people to work at the jobs that are being created and growing here, and to have places that are accessible and affordable and convenient to live in.
Local leaders expressed their support for the initiative.
We support these initiatives because we need it. In the last 8 years, we've grown 1,000 jobs. We've made $400 million in investments without any new debt, and we're just beginning. The fact is, our mission statement is to take incredible care of everybody, regardless of what you believe in or what you have to pay. But to do that, we need workforce, we need people, we need to recruit people in. We have the type of sustainable jobs that need sustainable housing. We don't want to just own everything. We want a partner. To provide that health care, we want to help grow the downtown.
My focus these days is pretty much exclusively on transit and improving public transportation across Cape Cod. But this legislation definitely impacts and provides assistance for us to do those type of things.
We have town planners, we have regional planners, we have private local lenders, we have housing advocates, private employers, hospital, and stakeholders throughout the Cape for whom the availability and the attainability of workforce housing is the most pressing issue. Yet what is missing among this very diverse and very powerful group of advocates and people with a vested interest is some of the necessary tools to actually get that work done. Those missing tools are found in the Housing Choice Bill.
If passed, the Housing Choice Initiative would allow towns to make changes to zoning laws with a simple majority vote.
This bill would allow a community like Barnstable to change its local zoning and adopt common sense best practices and strategies to help reimagine places like downtown Hyannis. It would change from a supermajority vote, which is a 2/3 vote of the body, to a simple majority vote to adopt new zoning measures so that properties that are not at their highest and best use could be repurposed for workforce housing or the kind of housing of choice of this community.
I think every tool that communities can have toward addressing these issues, this one being specifically housing, is helpful. And then the community itself will have to consider it and decide whether it wants to incorporate those tools.
The town of Barnstable is moving forward with its plan to strengthen the downtown Hyannis Growth Incentive Zone.
Barnstable stands committed to addressing the housing choice and housing challenges of our region and our state.
It is no longer a region of our Commonwealth where just visitors and tourists come. It is a place where people call home because it's a beautiful place to live in, and it is a place that they want to be able to live in.
Leaders gathered near the historic 255 Main Street building, where Cape Built is working to create 10 new units of housing and retail space, an example of smart growth. In Hyannis, for Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rosson.
Rob Brennan of Cape Built is also planning a major housing project along nearby Pleasant Street in Hyannis that will bring additional market rate rentals to the area. We will keep you up to date on that project's progress. Cape and Island State Senator Julian Cyr and State Rep Sarah Peake brought residents together in Orleans recently for a town hall-style forum focused on energy. Cape Media News reports.
Offshore wind, energy diversity, and Pilgrim Power Plant concerns. Rep. Sarah Peake and State Senator Julian Cyr held a town hall meeting earlier this month to address concerns and to explain the energy initiatives they say will improve the environment on Cape Cod.
We're doing a lot here in Massachusetts, but we need a vital and robust federal partnership where we can make a real difference for our planet, for ourselves, for children, grandchildren, for the plants and animals that we care about. This is important work.
Senator Cyr talked about the need to create balance between historic preservation and clean energy.
It was brought to my attention by some constituents in Barnstable and Yarmouth of the difficulty of installing solar panels in historic districts, specifically the Old Kings Highway Historic District. We live here and millions of people come here for our quaint villages, but that we need to find a way to reconcile that with the needs of a clean energy future.
Local organizations focused on Cape Cod's progress.
We've been doing home energy audits, we've been insulating your houses, providing heat loans for zero interest loans to replace your inefficient heating systems with new heating systems. We've swapped out your light bulbs, and we've been working at this since 2001. Population on the Cape has increased, but our energy use has remained steady and slightly declining, so we're making an impact on the kilowatt hours that we use.
We've been a one-way street for energy on Cape Cod. It's been built in various other parts of New England and shipped to us through power lines. It's often been dirty. It's often been of questionable safety. And we're now evolving to where the Cape, southern New England, southeastern Massachusetts is going to be making a significant contribution to energy and of course adding to that renewable energy and locally built and maintained energy that's going to produce local jobs.
All speakers emphasized the importance of getting involved.
Let's be a green Cape. Let's be a green county. That means all the towns as green communities. I would throw that out there as a target for all of us as advocates. Every town, not most, not half, all. Then we have a coordinated body of work happening to address climate change.
We could create a regional approach to climate action across the entire Cape by aggregating those green energy dollars.
A lot of us are really isolated in our own worlds for all kinds of reasons. And so to get out to talk about something that is going to impact everything and all of our future is really important.
One of the big issues, we talk about today, these big sweeping policy initiatives, and they all rely on implementation. And on the Cape, a lot of the implementation happens at the local level. And so to the extent that we don't have people on the local decision-making boards who understand environmental issues and prioritize them, not as much gets done as needs to get done, and not as much happens as quickly as it ought to happen.
You can run for office at the state level, you can advocate for these bills, and pay attention to what the science is, because climate change is here, and we need to take bold steps in order to really make headway in combating it.
The next Energy Forum is scheduled for June 22nd with U.S. Senator Ed Markey. Location to be determined. In Orleans, for Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rosson.
And moving now from energy to the environment, on Friday, May 3rd, the Friends of Bass River held a symposium to educate residents of Dennis and Yarmouth and other members of the public on the current water quality of the river, as well as to provide updates on plans for the new Route 28 bridge scheduled for construction in 2021. Barnstable County Administrator Jack Unitz educated the audience to the ongoing need for dredging and associated challenges in Bass River, and Robert Antico from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation and members of the Bridge Design Company showed the latest plans and answered questions in relation to the timeline and environmental impact of the construction project. The updated design, estimated at $17 million, will have 72-foot spans with less pillars in the river, increasing access and tidal flow.
We ended up going with the next beam. We felt that it's conducive to the Bass River environment. It will ease construction. It allows for accelerated bridge construction, so the construction windows will be shorter. It will be less roadway impact, less traffic impacts. Additionally, we're putting back a concrete structure. I don't think that a steel beam that's all galvanized would really fit the aesthetic that is currently there. So we tried to maintain the current look of the bridge as we go forward with this process.
Scott Horsley, an environmental expert in watershed management, educated the audience on current levels of nitrates in the Bass River, many of which violate state regulations and limits.
Let me just say for up front, there's a lot of good work that has been done. Personally, I don't think we really need a lot more science. We've got it. We've got some really good work. You can see that in the upper left, as you get up to Fallen Pond and Mill Pond, that area, the most northern part of the estuary, there's some pretty significant water quality problems.
According to recent studies, some areas of the river, including Fallon's Pond, had nitrate levels that were almost 80% above thresholds allowed by the state. When asked some challenging questions on the Title V septic system design still required by the state, Mass DEP Deputy Commissioner Gary Moran said that more regulatory steps and tests for nitrogen sensitivity would have to take place in order to have a new mandated septic system designed for Cape Cod that reduces nitrogen.
Right now in the regulations, there is a provision that if an area is particularly impacted by nitrogen, we can designate it a nitrogen-sensitive area. That carries with it particular implications for new properties, innovative alternative septic systems possibly. So we want to look at that, a couple of issues with it. One is, in order to do that, we actually have to go through a separate regulatory process to identify a particular area. So we potentially could go through a number of regulatory processes to say, yeah, that is a nitrogen-sensitive area.
We will keep you up to date on Bass River water quality issues and as plans progress for the new bridge. Coming up next, we visit the Guild of Harwich Artists.
Are you or someone you know looking for a caring local healthcare provider? Hi, I'm Chris Ellis, Director of Organizational Advancement at Community Health Center of Cape Cod. The Health Center's mission is to improve the health of the community through the provision of comprehensive, high-quality, compassionate health care to all, regardless of ability to pay. We currently care for more than 17,000 patients on the Cape. We are a full-service, nonprofit health center that is happy to announce the opening of an office in Centerville, joining others in Mashpee, Falmouth, and Bourne. Our Centerville office is located at 1185B Falmouth Road, at the corner of Route 28 and West Main Street. We are open for walk-in visits from anyone who needs care, Monday to Thursday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and no appointment is necessary. To learn more about becoming a patient, employee, volunteer, or donor at the Health Center, visit chcofcapecod.org or call 508-477-7090. Thank you.
The Guild of Harwich Artists is celebrating 4 decades of promoting the arts, and during Art Week invited members of the community to come collaborate on a large mystery painting puzzle. Cape Media News reports.
The Guild of Harwich Artists celebrated its 40th anniversary with a community building activity, its first ever mystery painting puzzle.
80 members came together and decided, what can we do that goes back to our mission, which is for community and art. So part of what we're trying to do is bring art to the community.
The event, which was held as part of Art Week's statewide initiative to engage communities with interactive art, was held at the Cultural Center and attracted nearly 100 people.
We have this wonderful mural that we're building like a puzzle. And we've had children and young adults and old people like me. and all kinds of people here, and it's been a great experience.
I got a notice from the Chatham Harwich Newcomers Club that this was going on, and when I read about it, I thought it sounded like a wonderful community building event, and I decided I wanted to give it a try.
Our daughter Kira was really excited to paint, so she got to come with us and help out, and it was a fun family event.
And the best part about the mystery painting puzzle? You don't need any artistic experience.
We're looking for folks who have never held an artist paintbrush before, who would now have an opportunity to come in and try it.
Everything was so well organized. I was really impressed with the setup and the planning that went into it. Like, you don't have to be a painter, so like I don't really have much of a painting background, but everything was organized in a way that I can contribute to a larger picture.
So they give you direction, and they give you the colors and the paints, and they mentor you, and they help you along each step of the way. So you just take baby steps, and sometimes you find out, hey, I really like this, and the next thing you know, you get involved.
As they come in, they're finding that something they didn't think they could do is not so hard and intimidating, and as a result, we've had some people say, well, I think I'd like to join your Thursday painting sessions. And, is there any other way that I could learn to paint a little bit more? Because I've always wanted to, but never really knew how to get started.
The event was so successful, the Guild of Harwich Artists is already planning for next year.
Things that we've learned this time around are going to help us get an even bigger turnout next year.
We might put a little different spin on it next year. We certainly would do a different scene than we're doing this year, but it turns out the scene that we picked is just about right. It's not too hard, it's not too easy, and a lot of people don't know the location that we selected to make the subject of the painting. So if we think about that for all these beautiful areas we have in town, we think we have lots of material to work with, not just for next year, but for subsequent years.
It gets people together, you meet new people, and networking, one thing leads to another, and yeah, you find a lot of friends this way. It's fun.
It was so much fun. It was just fun to try something different. I'd never done painting before, and the volunteers were so helpful, and I'm so looking forward to seeing the finished project.
The painting will be hung at the Harwich Chamber of Commerce Visitor Center at a ceremony to be announced.
So it'll be up for a year. After the year, it's going to be taken and put in the Cultural Center. And as the years pass, the Guild will have work here, and you'll be able to bring your grandchildren in and say, see that right there? I painted that.
The mystery painting puzzle event took place on Saturday, May 4th, in Harwich. For Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.
And you can find more information on the Guild of Harwich Artists online. Visit guildofharwichartists.com. Up next, hundreds race to the pint.
Did you know that 1 in 4 Cape Codders are affected by low or impaired vision or have a loved one with low or impaired vision? Hello, I'm Larry Lyford, board member at Sight Loss Services. We help individuals with low or impaired vision who don't qualify for state or federal assistance. Many of our consumers are seniors. We organize and run peer-to-peer support groups in just about every town on Cape Cod. We also have a resource room at our office on Route 134 in Dennis that allows folks to touch, feel, and see what types of adaptive aids are available to them. The agency does not take or require insurance, and we do not charge any fees for any of our services. We have developed many programs over the years to foster independence and reintegration for the vision impaired. Almost everyone is affected by or has a friend or loved one with sight impairments. There are resources available to these folks, and we can help. Our philosophy remains, no one should go through sight loss alone. Sight Loss Services is here to help. To find out more about how we can help or to donate, please call us at 508-394-3904 or visit our website at sightloss.org.
The 4th annual Cape Cod Beer Race to the Pint was held on Saturday, April 27th, and for the first time ever in the race's history, the skies did not open up and runners welcomed clear skies for the annual jaunt. The event this year raised money for the Barnstable Clean Water Coalition. Gabrielle Rawson reports.
Hundreds ran for Barnstable Clean Water Coalition last week at Cape Cod Beer's annual 5 and 10K Race to the Pint in Hyannis.
This is the 4th annual Race to the Pint. It's a 5 and 10K that Cape Cod Beer puts on with the help of SEMC Sports to benefit the Barnstable Clean Water Coalition. 57 Heavy is here today to do some music. Inside we have the Riverway Lobster House, who's providing chowder and chili to the runners. And then the Pineapple Caper from Osterville is here with their food truck doing amazing grilled cheese sandwiches.
The benefit drew more than 700 people from all different age groups and level of fitness, but owner Beth Marcus says the event's real purpose is to raise awareness about water quality on Cape Cod.
Water is one of the most important things we have, and beer is really important to us too, and beer is 95% water, so if you don't have clean water, you don't have good beer. And so we've always tried to have a nice relationship with the local water company. We're always trying to do the things that we can for conservation, and so it was really important. And we just decided to partner up and see what we could do.
It's so important to get everybody involved and understand what the conditions are here and how we can make them better. There's a lot of work to do to clean up the water here in the town. It's not always evident, whether it's in our drinking water or the tough conditions that are in our salt water and in our ponds. So we're working hard to change the conditions, make them better for everybody here, for the runners, and really for future generations. That's what it's all about.
Runners competed for prizes, then had the chance to enjoy a fresh pint at the all-ages post-race party.
This is my first time doing it, but I really enjoyed it.
This is actually, I've done it every year. I came back for prize money this year, hopefully.
Well, a friend of mine from work told me about this race. I did one in Plymouth not too long ago, and he said this one was another brewery, so I just decided to take my dog, so try it out for the first time.
It's a nice day, and
are you guys
getting out there.
Competing against one another?
I'm not competing today.
I'm going to beat them all.
It's a great course. Glad it's done. Now we can go have a few beers.
Cape Cod Beer is planning to host another fundraiser for Barnstable Clean Water Coalition later this year.
In the fall we do a oyster festival, which we call Shuck, that also benefits Barnstable Clean Water. And we're going to try to do some more things with them so we can get people really talking about it. We want more people to be concerned about water. It's one of those things that we walk up to the faucet and we turn the spigot on and we don't really think about it. In theory we can live without electricity, but nobody can live without clean water.
In Hyannis, for Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.
And yes, you may have seen a familiar face in that race. Well, that brings this week's episode of Cape Media News to a close. We thank you so much for joining us this week, and please be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Just search for Cape Media News. And special thanks to Stacy Kuhn of Stacy Kuhn Hair, who has again done my hair for the show. We'll be back next week with more. For now, enjoy the weekend and happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there. We'll see you next Friday. For Cape Media News, I'm Sarah Colvin.